There's really no such thing as an off-season for Alabama football. Tuscaloosa is filled with Crimson faithful again. Yet spring blooms here with thoughts of fast-forwarding to the fall, of getting back to a title quest, of putting that one more second on the clock and chasing the dream again. The A-Day game has arrived with Nick Saban set to unveil his group of next greats. It's an afternoon with the mighty Tide from right here in T-Town.
We welcome you to Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's the annual Crimson White game, Alabama's spring football game. A-Day, many new players to get to know, and one giant dynasty to keep maintaining. As we say good afternoon, everybody, Joe Tessitore, thrilled you're with us as the reigning SEC champs moments away from getting things going here in front of the home crowd. Unique way of bringing you this Alabama spring game. I'm up here in my normal perch for Alabama broadcast alone, but down on the field with total access, we have Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit and our sideline reporter, Laura Rutledge. We'll check in with that crew in just a moment. Well, Alabama was just a second away from claiming yet another national championship. That conversation is very much in the rear-view mirror. For now, as Nick Saban starts his 11th season, many feel they're still the favorites to get back into the contention for the crown. But enough youth and change to make the path getting there very interesting. Some of the headlines you should know. Brian Daboll is the new offensive coordinator. He comes from the Super Bowl winning Patriots. Plenty of NFL talent has moved on. The question is, how ready are the youngsters to step up? We will answer that. And quarterback Jalen Hurts, a freshman phenom last fall, but still room for improvement. Some of the questions that Kirk and Joey will handle today. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Tess, you know, anytime you're a team like Alabama, as good as they are and as well as they recruit, there still are some questions. And the one thing I guess I'm most interested, Joey, is it's not just the physical ability of this team, because we know it's there no matter who they lose to the NFL. It's the intangibles. The reason they've won 4 of the last 8 national championships has everything to do with the intangibles and the leadership. So I want to see, this is kind of that first step today in the spring game in front of this crowd. Who's going to step up and kind of become that alpha, because they've lost quite a few these last couple years.
And for the first time in 4 years, we're coming into a spring game at Alabama not wondering who will be the quarterback. Whether it was Sims or Coker, right, we were wondering who would be that guy coming in. This year, they returned Jalen Hurts. And this young quarterback came within a minute of leading this team to another national title, fell a little short, but there's room for improvement. We know he's a terrific athlete. We know he can run the football. Now they want to see him develop as a passer. We'll see that today. Is he a better passer than he was last season? And if he is, this offense will be absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. And like every team around the country, everybody wants to stay healthy. Let's hope that's the case today for Alabama. Let's go over to our buddy Laura Rutledge on the other side.
All right, Kirk, and you have 3 running backs out today. Bo Scarborough, Damian Harris, and B.J. Emmons. They will be ready for the regular season, Nick Saban says. But one you will see, true freshman Najee Harris, a highly touted kid coming out of high school, 5-star prospect. A couple things you need to know about this kid. He played his high school senior season on a partially torn meniscus, won every award possible, but still considers himself not a good enough running back. He's terrified of complacency. And in a day and age where a lot of kids will look at a depth position of their position that they play and see a lot of guys there, they don't want to come there, Najee Harris said, no, I want to come to Alabama and compete for a spot. We'll tell you more about his life and some of the struggles that he's had getting to this point as we watch his A-Day debut.
Coach Saban now with us. Coach, overall, how leading into the game, how has spring gone for you?
Well, I think there's some goals that you have in the spring. You know, we're going to see what players can sort of take ownership for what they need to do to play winning football. Can they do it to the standard on a consistent basis? And can they overcome adversity when things don't go well? Can they, you know, sort of self-assess, self-adjust? You know, those are all important factors that I think, even though you don't play a game, those are the things that you're looking for. And it'll be interesting to see how some of the young players do that today.
Coach, we know your quarterbacks have to develop. You want to work on being better passers in the pass game. But really what I want to know, and you can be honest, how excited are you to have me and Kirk back on the field with you again for another spring game, field level, so we can be right next to you?
Well, I think you would add to the receiving corps. I don't know about this guy in the secondary. We don't have a place for a cover 3 strong safety anymore.
Option.
You guys are going to have a lot of fun today down there with Coach Saban. All access he has given us today. These are the rules we are using. It's going to be a running clock except for some scores, penalties, and change of possession in the last 4 minutes of each half. if you see a player wearing a black jersey, like the quarterbacks, they are not live. They will tag off, and you will not see the return game on special teams here, as Andy Papanastos will get us going. And this will be one of those tag-off situations we're talking about. So there is Jalen Hurts, who was 13-1 as a true freshman starting quarterback last year. Was voted the SEC's Offensive Player of the Year by the coaches and by the APs. First freshman to do that since a guy named Herschel Walker.
Tess, you and I and Joey and Laura in meetings with him yesterday. First thing that jumps out is he's definitely taken advantage of Scott Cochran in the weight room this offseason. He looks bigger than he did a year ago.
He's never been bashful about putting the work in there, indeed. And they will start off spring with a completed pass to Cam Sims.
And how about that throw? We talked to Jalen Hurts yesterday, and he said he wants to start off with a rhythm throw. A quick throw, three-step, get the ball out his hands, get a completion. So now he's into a rhythm in this game. I love this start for this young quarterback.
Exactly what Brian Dable, the new offensive coordinator, wants to see. They will look to progress that passing game, give him some short, manageable reads to make, as this is complete to Calvin Ridley. Remember, our Darius Stewart is off to the NFL. There is Brian Dable, so Ridley will play an even bigger role. Excellent receiver. There is Dable, his first year at Alabama as the offensive coordinator. Came here this winter after winning the Super Bowl with the Patriots, but he started off his career back in the day with Nick Saban. And Kirk, that was a big piece of the reason why, after being an NFL offensive coordinator and has the ring from New England, as to why he came here to Tuscaloosa, his respect for Coach Saban. As Hurts looks to extend the play, nearly tripped up, and they're going to whistle him back there at around the 24-yard line as Quinnen Williams was getting pressure on him.
That was an example of where they want to see him improve on third downs, an area that at times is a problem for him. Notice he looked down on the pass rush. He looks down, and as a young quarterback last year, that's very, very common when a quarterback feels pressure and can rely on his feet to look down and look where that pressure is coming from to escape. Now they want to see him take that next step and be able to not panic and just read the coverage and deliver the football more quickly.
Here's J.K. Scott, who in recent years has been one of the better punters in college football. So Jalen Hurts out on the field with a 3-and-out. We are playing Crimson versus White, and the basic breakdown of that is Crimson is the #1 offense going up against the White defense. And now we will see the much heralded freshman early enrollee Tua Tagovailoa. He is from Hawaii. He was named the MVP of the 2016 Elite 11 quarterback competition.
How about this first play? He's already at the line of scrimmage making a check. First play of his career in a spring game.
Play action. Tagovailoa showing you that arm and getting it complete to Jerry Jeudy. So two early enrollees who everybody is excited to see. Tagovailoa and Jeudy connecting.
How about the crowd when he threw the ball? They've been waiting to see this young quarterback throw the football and see it come out of his hands. He threw a 10-yard out, and the crowd, ooh.
Yeah, rolls right, throws left. Perfect technique.
Here's Najee Harris as he bounces free into the outside. So on the first two plays with the White offense, you get a glimpse of the future. Wow.
Standing down here on the field. You want to talk about a specimen. Harris, they warned us about him, tell us that he's had a great spring. Again, a guy that should still be a high school senior, but looks like a junior in college with his physical attributes.
Tagovailoa, that time incomplete, as Jeudy was unable to hang on with Levi Wallace closing in defensively.
One thing about Tua and talking to the coaches and just kind of following his career in high school out of Hawaii, he's a guy that's a little bit more polished than I would even say Jalen Hurts as a rising sophomore. It's because of the way as a youngster really worked on the mechanics of being more of a pocket quarterback and delivering the football.
Here's Harris, tries to bounce it, patiently looking for something as he is forced out of bounds by Robinson.
and you know this Alabama defense is going to close. You can be patient as a running back, and people preach being patient. You can only be patient if your up-front blockers give you time to be patient. You can see a nice patient run by Harris, but at the end of the day, gain no yards because this Alabama defense flows so quickly to the sideline, nowhere to go.
So a good-looking opening drive from Tua Tagovailoa, the early enrolling freshman quarterback. Now facing a 3rd and 7. Here's Tua. Is that caught? Touchdown, TJ Simmons. What an opening drive for the early and lowly freshman quarterback.
That is a great throw. Simmons does a heck of a job of staying focused on the ball, but I think it's more about the placement of the football, where he puts this, give him his receiver a chance, and the defensive back never got his head turned around, Aaron Robinson, to locate the ball.
And what the receiver did nicely, late hands.
Yeah.
And as a receiver, we talk about if you put your hands up, the defensive back knows the ball is coming. If you do not and put them up late, the ball can pass the defender before he even knows it's there.
Pretty good opening drive, Huntess.
Indeed it was. And J.K. Scott adds the extra point. 15-yard touchdown pass from Tua Tagovailoa. 7-zip. White team on top. Jonathan Allen when we come back.
Your name. It's been with you since the beginning. It's up to you how it will be remembered. The NFL Draft on ESPN.
We're back in Tuscaloosa and joined by dominant former interior pass rusher for the Tide, Jonathan Allen. And as the draft nears, you've been working out here in Tuscaloosa. What are these final days before the draft like for you?
They've been good. It's been a lot of, anxiety, ready to get it done, but I'm enjoying the process as much as I can and just trying to have fun.
You've had a chance to watch this team a little bit in practice. What are your impressions of your Tide defense as they go forward into 2017?
They're locked in. They have a lot to prove, and coming off that national championship loss was tough. But, for the guys who are still here, they got a lot to prove, and they're ready to do it.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Tess?
He was one of the best to ever play here. Jonathan Allen, who come later this week will be beginning and celebrating some excellent news with his name called early in the NFL draft Thursday night. See, Todd McShay says he's number 3. 7-0 white team here after the opening drive, led by the early enrollee freshman quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Joey, he was 2 of 3 for 38 yards passing, including a 15-yard touchdown strike on that opening drive.
And when I look at the beginning of the spring game for a young quarterback handling this crowd, handling this defense, he looked as calm as a young quarterback could possibly look, delivering the ball to the corner, perfect placement so that the receiver just didn't have much work to do besides put your hands up and catch it.
I think not only the throws, it was just, like you said, his attitude. After all the hype and the buildup, he just kind of walked out here like he's in his backyard.
Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, how about that? Calvin Ridley. Flag is down at the end of the play. We will check on that, but an outstanding throw, an athletic effort hauling it in by Calvin Ridley.
And that is 4 straight passes. Even on a 3rd and 1, they threw the football. You can tell coming into this game early.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
And if you're an Alabama fan sitting down watching this game, that's what you want to see. You know about Jalen Hurts and his ability to hurt a defense with his legs. They want to see him make throws downfield, just like that, to his main target, Ridley.
59-yard reception for Calvin Ridley. He's had an incredible career. They'll back him up
first down.
5 yards here. Last season, he added 72 catches and 7 touchdowns after that breakout freshman year in 2015 when he set the Alabama single-season receiving yards mark.
And Kirk, you mentioned the fans want to see him throw the ball. Receivers want to see him throw the ball.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley has to be excited about that throw. This young quarterback being a better passer. Calvin Ridley with the run game. Receivers get excited about that kind of stuff.
Calvin Ridley last year, Joey, most of his plays and opportunities were shorter throws and then creating after the catch. He's going to have to become that guy where he can stretch a defense and make plays like that downfield. It obviously takes pressure off of the running game, which is going to be a real strength of this team.
Second and goal with Jacobs in the backfield with Hurts. Hurts to pass. And it is intercepted by Diggs. And Diggs returns it all the way out past the 20.
Honestly, I don't think that was as bad of a throw as it felt like in the end. The end result felt bad, but the throw itself was not that bad. It wasn't that far off. I'm not quite sure the tight end knew it was to him.
Yeah, Forrestall that time, I think he just had a hard time getting across the field and then eventually getting his eyes to the football. I think the quarterback, Hurts, actually threw the ball where it was intended. It just ends up looking like a horrendous throw, but I think that was as much about the timing and the tight end not getting across as much as a poor throw and decision there by Hurts.
And ball out, belt already on the shoulder now of Diggs, the former receiver, with an interception. Tua, meantime, gets back to business. Xavier Marks downfield.
He was backing up and threw the ball to the left sideline on the money. This Tua kid it's scary. It is scary to see this young quarterback step in and throw the ball as well as he did. You would never recommend that. You would never recommend backing up, throwing it to the left.
But it just shows you, again, how comfortable he is from that pocket and delivering the football in different ways. That time falling away and still having enough arm to get the ball there.
Now Harris just trying to muscle for a few yards. So a 48-yard reception hauled in by Marks. You know, this has been a name that a lot of fans here, they've been working on pronouncing it, by the way. Tagovailoa is the correct pronunciation, but they've been looking forward to saying it in a setting like this. And boy, are they getting a thrill early on here from the freshman. Play action now. Tagovailoa. That was thrown a little high into the outside, but it bounces the right way to Jerry Jeudy. A little magic from the Hawaiian punch. Tua Tagovailoa with his second touchdown pass early on. He'll take it any way he can get it. 25-yard touchdown.
When it's going your way, it's going your way. You know, that intended target that time looked like it was Marks. The undersized receiver went up to try to make a play on it. Goes off a defender's hand and right into the hands of Jeudy. No problem. Just the way Mike Locksley called it up over here on the sideline for the White.
The White team, the #2 offense, with freshmen everywhere and a mix of others, is up a couple of scores. Little pinball wizard for Tua Tagovailoa, off the hands and into the other froshes.
Tua Tagovailoa. So the last name Tagovailoa, you can say Tung O Vailoa, just to make it easier. Say Tung first, and then you say O-H-O Vai V-A-E Loa L-O-A. There you go.
Little helpful pronunciation guide from the man himself, who has been the man early on in his 8-day spring football game here in Tuscaloosa. It's 4 of 5 passing, 110 yards, and 2 touchdown passes, Laura.
That's exactly right, Tess. And by the way, coming from his hometown in Honolulu, Hawaii, which is about 4,300 miles from Tuscaloosa, it's a long way. It took some adjusting, but he said he likes the southern hospitality. Makes him feel like he's at home in Hawaii. He's missed out on Kalua pig, which is his favorite dish, but has eaten a lot of fried chicken and mac and cheese. Said that had to make him mix in a few more ab workouts, which I think we can all relate to that.
That's life in the SEC, traveling around, especially the good food down here in Alabama. All right, Kirk and Joey, listen, here's reality. We know that on the field what Jalen Hurts is and what Tua has shown us early on. But the way this is instantly going to be perceived by some in the media and by many sitting here in the stands is one guy's got a 3-and-out and an interception in the end zone, and the other guy's got a lot of juice and magic.
Yeah, that's one thing you could tell. The fans here, the people at home are already saying, well, how about this freshman? We got to get him in there. Just let's see how the whole thing plays out. But Tua is off to a great start.
Brian Robinson, another freshman who they are very pleased with, local guy, running back from Hillcrest High, Tuscaloosa.
And honestly, if you take a look at the last touchdown pass, they ran a man route. Marks ran a man route, and Tua threw it into a zone area. Marks would have got decapitated.
Yeah,
he'd have taken a big lick. That is a throw that is ill-advised versus a zone coverage, and that is something that coaches will look at.
Another downfield strike and a touchdown to Robert Foster. What a nice response by Jalen Hurts.
Absolutely, Tess. By the way, that's 2 balls to Calvin Ridley, and I don't know if he threw a better ball all of last year than these 2 throws that he's made downfield to Calvin Ridley. Great response, as you said, to all the success of the freshman Tua on the other side.
And if you're Jalen Hurts, and we spoke to him yesterday, he's not worried about what Tua's doing.
No.
Yeah, and you can see it. He's calm. He's thrown the ball about 6 or 7 times. Beautifully thrown the ball. You can see the improvement already.
So a 65-yard touchdown catch by Robert Foster. Many are hoping that this should be the season that he finally makes a steady impact. He was set to be the #1 target a couple years ago, then had a season-ending shoulder injury, but he has blazing speed on the outside.
You know, Tess, interesting. People getting a little bit of a feel of the personality of Brian Daboll, the new offensive coordinator for Alabama. He is a guy, to me, that has obviously a lot of expectations to try to continue to keep this offense going. But I love that he came right back and said, you know, we're going to go downfield. We got matchups. He put 3 receivers on one side, put Ridley by himself, and found the matchup that he wanted. But everybody wants to talk about what's this new offense going to look like. There's an example right there. He says, if you're going to give us that matchup, that's an NFL thing. They take advantage of matchups. We'll take it all day. So that gives you an indication of what to expect maybe in the fall from that Alabama offense with Brian Daboll calling the shots.
You know, Joey, it wasn't but just a few weeks ago that Coach Saban got a little upset when people were trying to paint this change as being they're going back to running the ball. They're going to be very, very conservative. Now, they're going to win football games however they see fit, and developing the passing game is top on that priority list.
And honestly, if they can do this, if they can throw the ball the way they have today, I don't know how you stop this Alabama offense. Now, you're in a spring game, and there's going to be matchups that you don't normally get when you're in season. You know what coverages they're allowed to run. They're not going to blitz quarterbacks and stand in the pocket, deliver the ball downfield. And we've seen both quarterbacks do that beautifully out here today. And those are the kind of things you look for. No one's getting hit. Tua's going to be a little bit more relaxed in the pocket because the quarterbacks aren't live. He doesn't have to worry about getting hit. He doesn't have to worry about where the blitz is coming from. So he's going to look a little bit more relaxed. But this is a beautiful groundwork. This is where you start from. And if this is the ground where Alabama's offense is in their passing game, then you just can't even imagine
the combination of the running game with the vertical pass game.
Combination.
Yep.
And Hurts, they haven't run the ball at all. They've just been throwing the ball with Hurts. You mix in the run, and you don't know what to do with your safeties and how to stop them.
A little extra leg drive there for a gain of 4 from Najee Harris.
Tess, you know, we've talked a lot about Daboll, who will be calling the plays. But I'll tell you, Mike Locksley, who is a former head coach and has been around. He was an analyst last year for Nick Saban and now has moved as actually a part of the staff. He is really trying to get the message out to Tua about these first couple drives, about the hurry up. Think about it. This kid should be a high school senior. He's out here on A-Day running a tempo offense against this Alabama defense.
He's going to be facing a 3rd and about 4 here as Harris goes for a minimal gain.
I think Mike Locksley plays a pivotal role as Brian Daboll kind of gets his feet under him coming back after 17 years in the NFL. Mike Locksley and the spread aspect, something he's very, very familiar with. I'm sure that Brian Daboll will lean on him pretty heavily as he gets ready for this fall and opening up with Florida State.
3rd down. Tagovailoa pass, and that should have been complete as Simmons dropped it and a touchdown reception earlier, but couldn't hang on there.
I mean, the ball is out. I mean, we're standing 15 yards away from him throwing the ball. It's just pop, 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 ball out. I mean, if you're a receiver, You better get your head turned around, your hands up, and be ready to make a catch.
And that is an adjustment for receivers. As we talk about Tua coming in, he's a left-handed quarterback. The ball is coming out differently. It's coming out quicker. And receivers have to adjust to who their quarterback is. And if Jalen Hurts doesn't get it out at the same time as Tua, as a receiver, you have to know which quarterback is in your huddle, and then you have to make that adjustment while you're in game, which sometimes is difficult.
Well, reminder that tonight we'll have another NBA playoff doubleheader right here on ESPN. We got Game 4, Spurs and Grizzlies. That's coming your way at 8 o'clock. Then Warriors and Blazers, Game 3. We'll see what Steph and Golden State look like, up 2 games to zip. Our coverage tips with NBA Countdown, charged by Mountain Dew at 7. So Jalen Hurts, after he connected with Robert Foster. We were talking about Brian Daboll and the path to arriving here in Tuscaloosa, a guy who was an NFL offensive coordinator with the Browns and Dolphins and Chiefs, and most recently a very important part of the success with Bill Belichick and the Patriots. But the foundation to his career was with Nick Saban. He was a grad assistant for Coach Saban back at Michigan State. And in talking to him yesterday, guys, really this was probably the only situation that would ever lure him back and bring him to college football after 17 years in the NFL.
And I think that just speaks volumes about the respect that he has for Nick Saban. And we asked him, is this something you've been anxious to get back to college? And he said, no, like you said, Tess, he was just right place, right time, and the right coach, and that's why he's here.
Hurts extending to the near side, gonna tuck and try to turn that corner. Black jersey on, so they will just tag off on him. Laura?
Tess, you can really see just how comfortable the relationship already is between Brian Daboll and Jalen Hurts. Just before this, he was saying to Hurts, hey, look, I like the passing game. We're having success there, but don't be afraid to run it, especially in the red zone. If you see something, if they're giving you something, go ahead and get that part of your game involved as well.
You know what's interesting about the last play? The receivers were blocking. Jalen Hurts was in the pocket looking for a pass, and I looked out, and Ridley was blocking. They were blocking on the other side. I think that's a bit of a mix-up.
Oh, trying a little something there, boys, as Ridley throws the incomplete pass.
Well, we've seen something that Jalen Hurts can't do. That did not look very athletic out trying to catch a pass. Not a great ball in the air. But
come on, man, he could have caught that.
Brian Daboll wanted all of it right there.
There's no chance he's going to go up there and get that.
That's about a 2-inch vertical.
I love the call personally. 3rd down.
The Crimson team will be punting away here, trailing the white team by 7.
Coach, what do you think of what you're seeing so far?
Well, you know, I like it. We're making some explosive plays on offense, which normally, you know, we haven't been able to do much of in A-Day games. But I think that's a real positive for us. I think we've got a different kind of team. Obviously, the defense can't give up explosive plays, but, you know, we make a mental error, which is the biggest thing on the 2-yard line on a penalty, and then we ended up getting an interception. So that kind of stuff can be the difference in the game because it's unforced errors.
Coach, we're a few series in, and we've only talked offense so far. Defensively, what do you think so far?
Well, we're not doing much on defense, so, you know, they're going to be a little bit of a disadvantage. But I'm really, you know, we're trying to evaluate how guys compete, so we'll see.
And, guys, just for our audience at home.
For the first team, so that hurts us a little bit at defensive end. But a lot of these young players are pretty good players, so it's a good thing that they're getting a chance to play.
Driving him back that time was Mack Wilson, as Harris couldn't find any room. And just for folks at home listening in, when Saban says we're not doing anything on defense, he's not talking about the productivity. He's talking about the looks that they're giving. They're very vanilla compared to what you normally see out of a pressure-packed and coming hot off the edge Alabama defense.
And
that is Mac Jones, the new quarterback for the white team offense. He's also an early enrollee freshman, as he gets it complete to Simmons. Jones comes from Jacksonville, Florida. When we were going through our rankings of the ESPN 300 with Luginbill and Halbert, he finished up as the 17th best pro-style quarterback in this last recruiting class.
And they have told us, Tess, that as much hype is surrounded Tua that he has had a great spring himself, showing that he can really get the ball thrown downfield.
Well, here's a glimpse of it at 3rd and 5, and it's picked off, and down inside the 15-yard line is McDonald.
We haven't talked much about this Alabama defense today, and we're looking for who are those guys that are going to be disruptors. Regardless of what the call is, you're looking for guys that can make plays out in space. That's a ball that came out a little late, going to the flat, and the DB broke on it.
And it's awareness. It's anticipating a route that's going to be about 7 or 8 yards on 3rd and medium. That's just coaching and great job of anticipating there by McDonald to jump that route and come up with a big pick and give his offense the ball in deep territory here.
So Kyrique McDonald sets up the Crimson offense inside the 15-yard line. Let's see if Jalen Hurts can capitalize. Josh Jacobs. Hardly anywhere to go there as he was forced to the outside by Diggs.
Ronnie Harrison, he doesn't really care that this is a spring game. He's coming in looking for people. 15 in white. One of the top safeties in the country out of Tallahassee.
He was 2nd on the team last year in tackles. Had 10 tackles in the college football playoff national championship game against Clemson. And that is the end of the first quarter. Dueling deep balls from Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. Entertaining spring game here in T-Town.
We're back in Tuscaloosa and joined by a part of this Alabama defense in the past, Reuben Foster. And Reuben, you gave an impassioned speech to this team on Thursday. What did you say in that speech?
Nothing, man. Just this team, this program is just built on tradition, on a lot of things, and it's pride. You know, you got to take pride in the sports and passion in the sport that you play.
What did you see out of these guys in practice that made you think you needed to say that speech?
Nothing, man. Just, you know, they just got it. They been incomplacent. So I just don't want them to be that way because there's a lot of guys behind the scenes or generations before that did this. So they got to just be in the Bama way. But they doing a great job today, like great job.
Who do you think can lead the charge on making sure this team is not complacent?
Oh, everybody. It's not just one leader. It could be everybody. I told them everybody can be a leader. Just step up and just talk. But they doing a great job today.
All right, so maybe they listen to you, right?
No, they listen to the coaches. It's just not me. It's just them. They just got to look within themselves. It's just them. It's not me. It's not nobody. It's just them.
All right, thanks so much.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Reuben Foster, of course, the All-American linebacker, was a unanimous first-team All-American pick a year ago, the Butkus Award winner. Hurts. That is incomplete as it was broken up by Trayvon Diggs. Diggs, a former wide receiver who now is really settling in as a good-looking cornerback. Guys, it's interesting to hear from Reuben Foster that he came into a team meeting trying to hold some of these guys accountable a bit, but leadership, listen, there's talent everywhere. One of the chief goals of this spring is to try to have some leaders emerge. Guys who are that fiery to speak up and take control and order of a situation.
And you can't fake that. I mean, that has to fit your personality. And I think when you look at these since 2008 till this season, they've had that. They've had that personality on that defense. And as we sit here and look at this team on paper, I want to know who that guy's going to be, because it wasn't just Reuben Foster. I mean, that defensive line over the last couple years with A'Shawn Robinson and Jaron Reed and Jonathan Allen, and think about the players that they've had, man, they have had some serious alphas. And it goes all the way back to 2008 and 2009, going back to even Dante Hightower and beyond. So this is an area that they're going to have to really get serious, and something that Jeremy Pruitt brought up with us. It's something they're very focused on between now and opening up camp.
And as we look through the roster, there is a ton of talent on this defense. And you mentioned Coach Pruitt when he was talking to us yesterday. Because they don't have that leader, because they don't have that alpha that has stepped up just yet, you could tell how uncomfortable he is with this defense, simply because if you don't have a guy if you don't have a Tim Williams that you can put out on the field and get after the quarterback without sending the blitz, and that's what has made this defense so special the past couple of years. They haven't had to blitz to get after the quarterback. You can get there with your front four.
Right.
We haven't seen that today. Now, Coach Saban mentioned that they're handcuffed on defense, not doing a lot. But when it comes down to rushing the passer, who's going to be the guy without a blitz, without an exotic scheme that can just go get the quarterback?
So Najee Harris going up and over. It'll be a third down for the white team offense here. Mac Jones still in at quarterback, threw an interception moments ago, but the Crimson team was unable to take advantage. A missed 31-yard field goal attempt by Andy Papanastos. Of course, Alabama is replacing longtime kicker Adam Griffith, and the guy who most likely will win the job isn't here right now. There'll be a summer incoming freshman in Joseph Bulavas. Third down and 5. Jones has time downfield, and that was defended by Levi Wallace, able to break up that pass.
I'm looking at Jones down here, standing right by me. He looks the way you're supposed to look when you're a high school senior trying to compete against the Alabama defense. I mean, he's an incredible talent, and he's probably got an amazing future. But I'm just saying, physically, when you look at he and Tua, they look very, very different. Tua, up to this point in this scrimmage, looks much more as if he fits in with this group of players.
And he looked left against the zone, and he threw left. And you do that at this level against this kind of defense.
Bringing the DBs
and the safeties,
right
the corners, they're going to read the quarterback's eyes, and they're going to go get that ball. A lot of things that you don't have to deal with in high school.
It was only a few months ago he was playing Class 4A private school ball down in Florida. This is a big step up. The Bears' crystal hat here in T-Town. More to come on A-Day. That's what everybody's chasing after. The College Football Playoff National Championship Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper. Tide are hoping to compete for that this year in Atlanta. Game will be played on January 8th, 2018, right here on ESPN. Joey, Jalen Hurts, Josh Jacobs, and the Crimson #1 offense back out there. What do you expect to see from them here?
I think we're going downfield. When you see an offensive coordinator and a quarterback and they call in the receiver, look at Ridley off to the right. Keep
Against
your eye
Diggs,
on him.
this would be a great matchup.
When the receiver gets called to the huddle, I mean, we get excited. And look off to the right. Let's go deep.
And the coach said, "You going to get open?"
It's there. Take it.
Oh,
pressure came after him there for a moment, and then just had to throw it away as he had Quinnen Williams. Now, I've called Quinnen Williams a few times already today, and that's a good thing because they're going to need that next wave of defensive linemen to really break through and step up.
And that's the moment as a receiver when you get open downfield. You know the play call, you see the coverage, you know it's going to be there. That's when you come back to your quarterback and say, "I was there." Now your quarterback's going to say, "Look,
Quinnen Williams was there.
Quinnen Williams was there with me. I didn't have a chance to throw it." But as a receiver, you say, "Hey, we'll come back to it. We got to get that because it's open."
Tess, you brought up Quinnen Williams. He's a guy along with Isaiah Buggs, 49, that maybe can provide that pass rush.
This time they will take a shot downfield, and right in stride to Robert Foster again.
Somebody's worked on his deep ball in the offseason. I mean, that is 3 perfect throws. The first 2 to Ridley, and this time to Foster.
How about go deep? 2 straight plays. You got, as a quarterback and a receiver, we went deep, we missed it. Usually coming back, offense coordinators go to a run play.
And
that time, let's go deep again.
The downside about that is that's Diggs again, the corner, who they're expecting to step in and be a starter potentially by the time they open the season. So I know Nick Saban did not like to see that.
So Robert Foster with the 65-yard touchdown reception, now the 50-yard reception, as he will be a key component of this receiver core for Alabama. Remember, we mentioned the fact that Ardarius Stewart went off to the NFL, so it's Foster and Ridley. Sims has been around. Marks is the more undersized guy in the slot. The name you should start to learn is number 14 you saw there, Jerry Jeudy. Judy's an outstanding looking true freshman, early enrollee, who they are very high on.
Tess, I think it's time for Ridley to take the next step. You know, he had an explosive freshman year. Last year, because of having a true freshman quarterback, wasn't nearly provided the same opportunities because they had to protect the quarterback. I think this year you're going to see Ridley get more chances to get downfield. We talked about earlier, and I think it's great to see Foster healthy. And if you combine he and and Ridley together, I think that gives them a great 1-2 punch for this offense on the outside.
Here's Jacobs as he muscles his way down to the 12-yard line, tackled by Payne. Foster's a guy, Joey, who a year ago, after he healed up from a shoulder surgery, came back at full strength, ran a 4.34 40, and it wasn't long ago he was always thought of being the next big downfield target for the Tide. Now it looks like he is fully ready to take on that role.
And he has to be extremely excited about the way Jalen Hurts is throwing the football. It was always great to go deep. It was even better to have a quarterback that could actually throw the ball to you. And so when you're going downfield and you have a lot of confidence in your quarterback that he can actually deliver the ball, as a receiver, your confidence level and your ability to get open, and that's what you said, Coach, Kirk, earlier when, you know, Dable was like, can you get open, Ridley? Will you get open for me? And Ridley's like,
I got you.
Of course I'll get open, because he knows the ball is coming. And that is a different feeling for a receiver when he's running downfield.
3rd down and 8 now.
Tess, you see him sneak in that Tony Brown blitz.
Can't help himself sometimes, Kirk. A little bit of A-gap pressure here, picked up by Jacobs as Hurts, and there is tagging off that time was Keith Holcomb, as he was the guy coming through the middle and did find his way to Hurts, who stepped up into the pocket.
The guy that, you know, they can rush off the edge. You know that when Jeremy Pruitt gets you to 3rd down, they're going to have outside linebackers, they're going to have 6 DBs, but Quentin Williams is definitely the guy that here, standing on the field looking at him, reminds you of some of the guys that they've had in the past year. Maybe not to that level, but he's very athletic, and he was able to win some one-on-one matchups in those pass rushing situations. 92.
Where Papanastos missed from 31 earlier, this from 37. And once again off the mark. Coach Saban, 11 seasons in, of course, everybody lives in the shadow of the Bear here in T-Town. More to come from A-Day. Sunny and beautiful day here in Tuscaloosa. The A-Day game. White versus crimson, and it's that white team that's loaded with all the talented freshmen, led by the quarterback from Hawaii, Tua Tagovailoa, and his 2 touchdown passes with the 14-7 lead. Joe Tessitore alongside Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit as our field level on the field analysts, and our sideline reporter Laura Rutledge. Happy you're spending the afternoon with us, taking in a little college football. Well, there he is, Tua Tagovailoa. What does he do for an encore after that outstanding first quarter?
Watch a big play outside. We got a double move by both receivers going downfield.
Just thrown to the outside of Jerry Jeudy.
First bad throw we've seen out of Tua today.
Yeah, right.
First bad throw. It's windy. It's windy out here, Kirk. You throw some. See, the wind took the ball, but Loxley's saying, hey, if you guys want to go deep, you guys want to go for the big play, let me join in on some of the fun. Give me a double move to the outside, and let's go see if we can get a touchdown.
Yeah, Tua's not allowed to throw a ball like that out of bounds.
Already high expectations set after that first quarter. See a big Najee Harris in the backfield with him. He goes 6'2", 230 pounds. And he will swing it out to Harris. And Harris lowers the shoulders and moves ahead for a first down for the white team offense. Boy, Harris just looks the part, doesn't he, Kirk?
He does. I mean, you know what he can do running the football, but this is a nice sign to see from a big guy be able to go up and make that catch. And that's the difference between an incompletion and being able to make that play, get your feet underneath you, and get upfield and pick up a first down. That's
through contact.
Soft hands.
First contact. He got 6 more yards.
Oh, yeah.
ESPN 300 had him as the 11th overall player in the country and the 2nd best running back nationally. Here's another downfield ball right into the hands of Jeudy. He paused, created just enough separation at the end, Joey.
That's more like it. That is more like the throw we were expecting to see. You know, we talked about the wind on the last throw, but come right back a couple plays later and drop a beautiful throw down the sideline. That's what it's only been 1 quarter, but he has thrown the ball as well as anyone we've seen.
First down, play action, downfield again for Jeudy, and score it. Freshman to freshman combo that is going to have this crowd buzzing.
Mental note, if you're playing against Florida or against Alabama this year and they get you, they're not going to wait to come back 2 or 3 years later to come back and get to you on that same play. They're going to come right back that next play. That's like the 3rd time we've seen Brian Daboll have an effective play and come right back to the exact same matchup. People want to know what this offense is going to look like. It's going to be attacking. They're going to find weaknesses and attack them.
Tua Tagovailoa has now led this white team offense, the supposed #2 offense, with 3 touchdown passes. And Jerry Jeudy with his 2nd of the day.
And this is pretty good coverage, to be honest with you. And you look back to last year's national championship game against Clemson, the coverage was there. Clemson, Mike Williams went up and made a few catches to change that game. And then we see it today. Eventually the receiver has to go up and make the quarterback look good. If you can trust a receiver, if the quarterback can trust a receiver in a man-to-man coverage, whether he's covered or not, to go up and get the football, then he will give him those shots every time he sees man-to-man coverage.
You know, Kirk, all week long when we would talk to people offensively, the name Jerry Jeudy would always come up. How about 4 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns so far today? Deerfield Beach, Florida, comes the freshman Jerry Jeudy, who was a big scorer in recruiting over Florida State and Clemson. And right now, with that touchdown reception, a 21-7 lead here in the A-Day game. He had 2 catches for 67 yards on that drive.
Well, one thing we're going to walk away from this scrimmage with is that 13, regardless of who's going to win the job, accuracy and confidence soaring. My gosh, about as good as you could hope for if you're him.
Run up the middle from Robinson. Meanwhile, the guy on the other team playing quarterback is the reigning SEC Offensive Player of the Year.
and has played well today. And he would walk out with the same confidence. He's thrown the ball downfield. That's the part of the game that a lot of people wanted to see. And he has thrown the deep ball as well as we've seen anybody throw it. I mean, he has put the ball on the money to the outside, in stride for the receivers. So at quarterback position, if you're an Alabama fan, you got to be feeling really good. Now, it's just a spring game, and we're only a quarter and a half in. But we're pretty excited about what we're looking at.
Yeah. Hey, Tess, what was the last freshman MVP in the SEC?
Well, Herschel Walker was the last true freshman to win the Player of the Year.
Yep.
So, I mean, think when you start putting those names in the same sentence. And yet here we are raving about an early enrollee from Hawaii who has been lighting up this A-Day game. Now, we said Bama may be young, but boy, are they talented. 3rd down ball was intended for Forrestal. So Hurts and Tagovailoa, they said, listen, great competition, great quarterback room. Now, overall, they just like where they are at the position. And you even saw earlier, and he struggled, Mac Jones, a little bit earlier, but he's had a nice blossoming spring. So they're very bullish on what the passing game will offer. And look at that crowd around Tagovailoa, congratulating him on what he's been able to do so far today. J.K. Scott into punt away again. Well, Sunday on ABC, we're going to have another NBA playoff doubleheader. A couple of game 4s coming at you. How about LeBron this week, what he's been able to do? Cavs are going to take on the Pacers at 1 o'clock. That great comeback the other night was something. And then James Harden and the Rockets against Westbrook and OKC. And the coverage will start with NBA Countdown, presented by Straight Talk Wireless at 12:30. NBA doubleheader Sunday on ABC.
we got this thing figured out. Instead of walking behind, we'll have to go 90 yards the other way. We're just going to stand back here and wait for another deep ball here by Tua.
It is warm out here today.
Yeah.
Well, based on how he's performed, that's a good strategy. Harris looking to cut back and then falls forward for the extra yardage. He's that kind of back that he's always going to get that surge at the end. It's just how he's built.
They have 6 running backs that can play at most schools in this country. And it's just marvel at the depth that they have. And, you know, eventually it'll work itself out. But all 6 of them have a legitimate shot by the time fall comes around.
Obviously, we're not seeing Bo Scarborough today, who left the college football playoff national championship game with a fracture in his lower right leg. Now, it did not require surgery. He was able to put weight on it right away, and his recovery has been going just as they planned. We talked to Coach Saban and said, listen, the guy's pretty much back to full speed. There's just no need to have him out there or ask anything of him. But here's a completion now to Irv Smith Jr., and he cuts back to the 41-yard line. Of course, Dad was a great college player, first-round pick by the Saints, went on to play in the NFL as a tight end.
Definitely a breakdown in coverage. No one covering the tight end across the field, but give Tua credit for seeing it in the middle of the field. A lot of times young quarterbacks will look outside because you're just reading the corner, maybe the safety, but to go inside, then you have the safeties, the linebackers, the D-line in play. To be able to see it and throw it on time, big play.
Yeah, great recognition, and we're talking so much about Tua that let's not overlook the tight end that Tess talked about. Irv Smith said he ran a 4.5. A 4.5 at the size that he has, and with the loss of O.J. Howard, keep an eye on Irv Smith becoming a big-time weapon.
Oh, how about that pickoff by Terrell Hall? They were going to throw a swing pass, and Hall's going to dance his way in for a pick 6. Are you kidding me? At 6'5", 250. Wow.
But the wingspan paying off for him. That is great to be able to go up and make that play. The athletic ability for the size of an outside linebacker. Just talked about the recognition by Tua. That time he anticipated that throw, that swing pass out, and went up and made the play. I don't think Coach Saban tipped him off on that, did he?
Saw him waving his arm over that side.
He's been seeing all this offense out. He's like, yeah, that's great. We're going to work on the pass game. But wait a minute, let's play a little defense.
We're going to roll that back and see if he whispered in his ear.
How good looking of an athlete is Hall, by the way, Kurt. With that frame and that athleticism, long striding down a 60-yard pick 6 return of a swing pass.
When you said 250, I had to look at my sheet. I thought because honestly, he looks 225 because of the length and the athleticism. When he caught the ball and he's running with it, you'd have swore he was a tight end.
And with the losses that they have up front on this defense, a lot of these guys are getting ready for the draft next week. Hall becomes a pivotal name. In fact, I remember talking to Scott Cochran, the strength coach, when we were watching them prepare and get ready for the Clemson game, the national championship. And I always like to kind of pick the mind of some of these guys about who's that next wave of talent. And I was pointing to some of the defenders, and Hall was one of the first names that he brought up as a guy to remember and keep an eye on next year.
Remember a year ago, they were just superb with the non-offensive touchdowns. They had the most in the country with 15. They had 11 defensive touchdowns. They had 6 pick 6 interception touchdown returns, 5 fumble return touchdowns. Has done it through the air with Tagovailoa. The Crimson team.
Kick out of bounds. Number 15 on the kicking team.
It's a big boost with Terrell Hall.
Line. First down.
That's the one area that Nick Saban is going to be really, really upset with. A couple missed field goals. Just been a little bit sloppy on special teams here, especially when you're not really facing a lot of pressure. See how Tua bounces back here after that pick 6. You good up there, Tess?
I'm great, Kirk.
Good.
Beautiful day with you, Joey, and Laura down here in T-Town. Plenty good.
Gotten after it on the meal front. Not
anytime we're on the road, we're going to make that happen, my friend. It's half the fun of covering college football, brother. There's Irv Smith again.
And you mentioned how would Tua rebound. I love the throw. It's like, let's start over. Let's get in rhythm. Let's make a quick throw, get a quick 5 yards, set up a 2nd and 5.
Yeah, Mike Locksley putting the ball right back in his hands. Here they go again. Put that interception behind you.
Oh, almost threw another one that time. As coming in on it was Levi Wallace, the senior from Arizona.
Even the bad throws look good. Even the bad throws, and that was off, but it shot out of his hands so fast the defensive back didn't have a chance to react to it. It hit the ground. His feet didn't come all the way back around with his arm, but you can see the arm talent.
Now there you guys are, deep in the left side as they go to the near side right to T.J. Simmons.
It's not just the arm strength that stands out to me. It's the release. I mean, he makes his mind up, and I got to keep reminding all of us that he's a senior in high school. That's reported early, and that ball is out. He is very, very quick with his decisions.
You know, it's interesting as he gets tagged off here on the sack that time by Jamie Mosley, who's younger brother of C.J. Mosley. It's interesting, one of our colleagues, Trent Dilfer, who you know Trent's heavily involved with the Elite 11 quarterback competition. He said of Tua, he said he's probably the most gifted passer I have seen at this age. Said, in fact, he felt like he throws it better than Aaron Rodgers did as a sophomore at Cal.
Wow.
Now, for many, they're getting their first real extended glimpse of him. Not everybody's watching the Elite 11 or the Nike opening or the high school stuff. But
I asked Coach Saban, is this normal for 13? And he said, yeah. I mean, it's pretty much what we've seen all spring.
Here's a 2nd and 17. As Tua not able to find any room in the pocket, collapsing that time.
That's the difference when Tua is in there versus Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts has an awareness, and when that pressure gets to him with a 4.49 40, he's going to be able to pull out of there and do some damage. You don't have that same threat when Tua's in there.
Interesting that Tua would come here. I mean, I talked to Coach yesterday about, you know, how do you get so many running backs with the talent you have? You have a young Jalen Hurts that's in his 2nd year, and here comes Tua coming in to compete with Jalen Hurts. You keep getting guys to roll in here and come in and compete for starting jobs, and it speaks to your depth, it speaks to your recruiting, and you look at this talent and look at
another fortunate bounce.
Getting a little lucky, but again, ball coming out over the middle, and so the competition level at quarterback, at running back, will be something that we don't normally see anywhere in college football, but the level that these quarterbacks are playing at today will be interesting, not just today, but moving forward as they continue to compete and get better and develop because they're so young.
4th down here. As that was knocked away at the last second by Mack Wilson. Wilson was a very highly touted freshman a year ago. I think they're looking for him to break through to the next level.
I still am really, really impressed that they're throwing the ball left, throwing the ball right, throwing the ball in the middle. Usually with a young quarterback, you simplify it. You hit the outside to the left, the outside to the right, simple reads. But with Tua, it's been a full field reads on a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's just very, very uncommon.
Hurts checks down to Jacobs. Laura?
A who's who list of alumni from Alabama on the sidelines, all of them oohing and eyeing about Tua Tagovailoa. Dante Hightower said, yeah, I don't know how to say his name, but I can tell he can throw the ball. This guy has some talent. They're all impressed by what they're seeing from the young freshman so far.
Coming up on the final half minute of this first half. Hurts, 2nd down, as he leaks out to the right. Turns the corner against Christian Miller and was tagged off and it's short of the line to make for the 1st down.
That's the part of Hurts you can't coach. You can't coach that athleticism, the ability that when the pocket breaks down, I can always make a positive play because I am faster, more athletic than the defense coming after me.
Guys, we were talking earlier about who the alphas are going to be, and one guy just standing down here looking, Rashaan Evans, who's a middle linebacker, 32. They'll move him down as a pass rusher because that's maybe his real strength as an edge rusher. He will have a big role this year in this defense.
They're down in 4. And that is batted down and then harmlessly falling to the ground as a flag is down. Let's see if we get pass interference here. Rashaan Evans in on that play.
Pass interference on the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
We were just talking about Evans. That time Evans, the coverage too tight. Good call by the officials. But with Reuben Foster moving on, Evans now steps into that role. Reggie Ragland, Foster, and now Evans as far as taking over the middle of that defense.
Hurts with a lot of time, and that is complete to Miller Forristall, who replaces O.J. Howard as the downfield threat. And he is very slow to get up. He is still down at the end of this play. So we'll stop the clock with 16 seconds here in this first half as the medical team will come out and take a look at Miller Forristall. It's a good looking tight end from Georgia. Can be a matchup problem with some folks. Had a few moments last year where you could see how good he could be in the future, and they're expecting him to have a fine season.
And Tess, those kind of throws don't show up on the stat sheet as well as the deep balls, but that as good as throw as we've seen Hurts throw today. Kept Forristall low. The safety is coming. It's a zone play by the defense. So as a quarterback, you have to throw your tight end open and keep him safe. Throw it low. He can go down and get it. He's the only one that can get to the ball and not take the big hit by the safety who's sitting in zone.
So Forristall lips off. And the Crimson team with a first down, 16 seconds remaining. We're trying to tie up this A-Day game for the half here. Sometimes you forget Jalen Hurts is just 18 years old still. Won't even turn 19 until August. Plenty of time. He checks down underneath to Jacobs, who will have the first down. Final seconds remaining here in this first half, as this is whistled dead. Ball will be coming back here. As of now, they have 3 seconds remaining and a timeout used by the Crimson team. And they're going to attempt a field goal as J.K. Scott, who's the well-regarded All-SEC punter, has been having a good spring as a place kicker. Papanastos missed the first 2 field goal attempts of the game. So now J.K. Scott will come on for this field goal attempt. This is a 38-yard attempt for the senior from Denver, Colorado. And J.K. Scott is able to put it through. So 21-17, the white team on top at the half. More to come from Tuscaloosa after this. Well, it's been incredible watching this dynasty grow and now maintain itself here in Tuscaloosa. It all got going back in that 2010 BCS championship game with the breakthrough win against Texas. And then the rematch against LSU in the 2012 BCS championship. The demolition of Notre Dame down in South Florida as Nick Saban took his 3rd title for the Tide. And then the first go round against Clemson in the 2016 College Football Playoff National Championship. And of course, they were just 1 second away from claiming yet another title. Halftime here in Tuscaloosa. The White with a 21-17 lead over the Crimson in a first half that had a combined 13 plays over 20 yards. The big talk about is this guy, the early enrollee freshman, Tua Tagovailoa, as he connected with a good-looking freshman, Jerry Jeudy. Went downfield often here, hitting Xavier Marks. 3 touchdown passes in total. This one well placed to the freshman from Deerfield Beach, Jerry Jeudy. That's a combination that could have a very bright future. Of course, the reigning SEC Offensive Player of the Year is leading the #1 offense. The Crimson team, who trails here, went deep to Calvin Ridley early on. Texas native did throw an interception in the end zone to Trayvon Diggs. A little word of encouragement from Coach Saban. But not bashful about dialing it up is Brian Daboll, the new offensive coordinator. Robert Foster had a big first half, had a 50-yard reception, and that 65-yard touchdown reception. So the quarterbacks have been outstanding. As you see the numbers for Hurts, and then the freshman Tua Tagovailoa. Tagovailoa with 276 yards passing and 3 touchdowns in that first half.
On the card.
Let's go down to the field. Joey Galloway and Kirk Herbstreit. Gentlemen.
Pretty good first half. You know, I think that there's a lot you can take away from, and I think there's also some concerns that's always healthy as well. But I think the big thing, Joey, to me is fans sitting around in this stadium or at home, don't jump to too many conclusions just based on what you see today.
And I'm going to jump to a conclusion for these receivers, because to those guys, whether it's Hurts, whether it's Tua, Ridley has to be excited, Foster has to be excited, Jeudy has to be excited, Marks. From what they've seen today from both quarterbacks and from attitude from the offensive coordinator Daboll, they have to be excited about where this offense is going and the ability to go downfield with the football.
And as you said earlier, it's going to be a combination of vertical passing game, no matter who the quarterback is. They're showing you that they're not afraid to attack downfield with what they'll always have, the physicality and ability to run the football.
Well, Jalen Hurts, you know, there was often heard criticism that he was protected with the play calling last season. 43% of his pass attempts were either at or behind the line of scrimmage. But you already see with Brian Daboll and the progress that they've been making and the willingness to throw the ball downfield and get him to read the defense. Gentlemen, with Coach Saban.
Coach, when you go through any of these spring games, you always want to get out of here where you're healthy. But first half in, what do you talk to the guys about as you get ready here for the second half?
Well, you know, I really didn't say anything at halftime because I want to see how these guys respond, you know, when things don't go well. I want to see how they respond when things go well. I want to see who can maintain sort of a mindset of being a good competitor, and regardless of the circumstances. And there's been a lot of turnarounds in this game in terms of big plays and turnovers, and so it's interesting to see how guys continue to compete.
And we've seen a lot of throws downfield in that first half. Will that continue in the second half?
Yeah, I think we'll do the same thing. I mean, we play a little bit of press coverage. They know the defense has got 2 split safety coverages and 2 middle of the field coverages, and you know, Tua is pretty good at reading that stuff, and so is Jalen, so they're able to take advantage of it some.
He has taken advantage. And just the fact that they're saying they are reading the defense and what's being offered is a point of improvement that was stressed by Brian Daboll. It's interesting, guys, to sit down and talk with Brian Daboll, the new offensive coordinator, yesterday, because he really scoured everything there was on Jalen Hurts. He said, listen, I went and watched his entire season 3 times, back and forth. I just want to know what he's comfortable with. And I think that's a big part of the development this spring, of throw a lot of stuff at him, see what works, what fits with him, how he likes to operate.
I think that's true with any offensive coordinator and quarterback relationship, but especially when you're coming off of a true freshman year and then bringing in a new offensive coordinator from the NFL who hasn't been around college football in 17 years. So I think as much as you practice in spring, this atmosphere, where it's obviously not quite like a game in the fall, but it's the closest you can get, I think you can learn a lot about your quarterbacks in this setting.
If you look at the playoffs last season for Jalen Hurts, the numbers dipped. The completion percentage dipped into the playoffs, and so you finished your season not winning the national championship, making enough plays to win it, but your percentages, your completion percentage wasn't where it was during the season. And then you have a new offensive coordinator for a quarterback. He has to also get used to that guy. And so as everyone's getting used to each other, it is, what do you like to do? What are you comfortable with? And then Jalen Hurts has to then learn from his offensive coordinator, what are you comfortable with? What are you thinking on game day? And what are we going to do? What are we going to hear? What are we going to see when we're in the huddle?
So the white team offense will start off this second half with the ball. Tagovailoa coming off that 3-touchdown first half performance. Najee Harris in the backfield. There's Hall, who had the pick 6 earlier today. As Harris probes and then muscles his way for a gain of 4, tackled by Raekwon Davis.
Locks, you going to get real conservative now in a second?
Army right.
He's throwing here?
Yeah.
It's Mike Locksley.
Option route here. Snap in the bound.
Mike Locksley, the coach of that white team, standing next to Kirk. Tua gets it out to the side and gets it complete to Xavier Marks, who's trying to make the most of that play.
Big third down here.
All right, here we go. Let's go hit Dolphin left stack. Scooter coaching. Sizzle. Sizzle. Stack it.
Who's our matchup here?
We should be working in the boundary here. Hit number 16, little in and out route.
Okay. Into the boundary here. Hitting 16. Little in and out route.
Here's the quick out, but he goes downfield further, and it was just defended enough as it was intended for Irv Smith Jr. So it'll be 4th down, and J.K. Scott will punt it away.
All right, defense is getting ready now. Made some adjustments.
Diggs hauls it in at about the 27-yard line. We've seen every aspect of Jalen Hurts except for one that finally revealed itself last night as he was honored by Alabama softball. They were playing Washington, throwing out the first pitch. Now they're not going to do it football style. There he is. A little bit off to the right. It was a nice reception for Hurts with Alabama softball. He's hoping to get this Crimson team into the lead here as he will take his first possession of the second half. Play action. Steps up, and he can always do this. Explosive runner is Hurts. Great looking athlete. His dad was a high school coach, Avarian Hurts. Brother also quarterbacks down there at Texas Southern. A very physical, strong athlete. You know, I marvel at the fact you hear his weight room numbers coming out of high school, and the fact that how many quarterbacks do you know that threw the shot put in high school track and field?
Not many. Other than me, I haven't heard of many. I haven't heard of anybody playing quarterback throwing the shot.
And Kirk, when you look at Jalen Hurts on the last play, it looked like he had the tight end over the middle, didn't throw the ball, but he can tuck it and run it. And that is why it is tough at times to say, you know, the pass game is so important, because he is one of the few guys in the entire country. If he does miss the tight end across the field, if he does misread the coverage, he can still make a play with his feet and move the chains, so it's okay. You're fine with not throwing that ball.
I'll never forget when Frank Beamer and Virginia Tech were dealing with a young quarterback by the name of Michael Vick, and they were trying to get him after his freshman year to learn to become more patient as a passer. But it's a fine line with guys at this level like a Jalen Hurts, where you want him to become patient, read coverage, but don't take away a real strength, which is his feet and making plays.
This time he's brought down by Christian Miller. Laurel?
Joe, some have wondered about Jalen Hurts' motivation heading into this season, and I think he made it pretty clear to us in our meeting with him yesterday. He showed us his background on his cell phone. It's a picture of Clemson hoisting the national championship trophy. And think about that. How many times do you look at your phone a day? Every time Jalen Hurts looks at his phone, that's what he sees.
That's a good motivation. You know, he had that go-ahead 30-yard touchdown run with just over 2 minutes to play. I had him just a second away of defense away from that being the game winner, but passing wise he was only 13 of 31. Here's a 3rd and 18, nearly picked off by Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Boy, Minkah Fitzpatrick could play anywhere in the secondary, and I think that you're going to see him play safety. And that time he completely baited Jalen Hurts, just sitting there reading the eyes. And this is what a top level, one of the top defensive backs in the country can do to a quarterback. Makes him feel like he has the seam, that it's there, waits for him to throw it, and then just steps right in front of it. Should have been an interception. And with his playmaking ability, could have very easily taken that all the way back for a touchdown.
6 interceptions a year ago. He had 3 interceptions in one single game against Arkansas.
Yeah, he's as good as there is in the country. With the versatility, can play corner.
Little extra effort doing some push-ups on the sideline.
He probably did that to himself, too.
Right. Said drop that ball, should have been a pick. And put in some extra work. So Hurts and the Crimson team still trailing here in Tuscaloosa. The famed Denny Chimes not far away. Joe Tessitore, Joey Galloway, Kirk Herbstreit, Laura Rutledge here at the A-Day game. Look at Todd McShay's top 10 prospects for the NFL draft. You see 3 of them are Alabama players. 2 of them, guys, had been in that front 7 defensively. And that is one of the many concerns of the young talent who has to step up, as Irv Smith Jr. has the completion. But when you are absent Jonathan Allen and Dalvin Tomlinson, and you're trying to replace Reuben Foster, that's a whole lot of All-America honors there.
That's what's been different about this defense the past couple of years. They could get after the quarterback with those front guys that you just talked about. They didn't have to bring a linebacker. Tim Williams was getting after the quarterback. Jonathan Allen was getting after the quarterback, and he had the ability to keep 7 in coverage. So as we look today and look for those playmakers, Mosley has got after the quarterback a couple times. We saw Terrell Hall with the interception, running that back at 250 pounds, looking like a receiver. Those kind of playmakers up front change this defense and allow Coach Saban and Coach Pruitt to mix and match some of their coverages. They don't have to blitz as much, and they can really put these quarterbacks in a tough situation.
Coach was just telling me, he said, you know, we may not have the big names, the superstars, but he said it feels like they have a lot more guys that can be competitive.
Mac Jones was brought down. So much for that black jersey not live tag-off, says Raekwon Davis against the early enrollee freshman. Davis is a young man who could play a very big role in that front 7. You know, it's also who's not out there on the field today, because Sean Dion Hamilton was injured at the end of last season. Now he will be back for fall camp. He's looking good. In fact, he was out there warming up pregame today, but no need to risk anything. He was their 3rd leading tackler on the team last year, but Sean Dion Hamilton will be a big part of this defensive effort.
Absolutely, Tess. He and Rashaan Evans are going to play a huge role of not just playing in the middle, but as we've seen for so many years, getting everybody lined up, making sure everybody's on the same page. I also think it's something to remember. They play so much situational defense. They play nickel, they play dime. I thought it was interesting when we talked to him about the defensive backs. Ronnie Harrison, number 15, who is one of the top safeties in the country, instead of moving him around, he's moved up to a play almost like a linebacker in their dime package. They'll keep him back now more probably this year to be back there reading coverage, reading quarterback's eyes, along with Minkah Fitzpatrick. So it put 29 and 15 back on the hashes, which would be really, really tough for quarterbacks to try to get the ball thrown downfield.
This is Tua now playing for the Crimson team, as the quarterbacks are interchangeable. They're wearing the black jerseys. Crimson team trailing by 4. By the way, Isaiah Buggs is one of the new names that's now part of the defensive line. There he is, the 6'5", nearly 300-pounder from Louisiana. He's a JUCO transfer. He was the #1 ranked JUCO defensive end in the country, and he has started to become one of the breakout names of this spring football. Here's Tua. Swing pass out of the backfield to Brian Robinson, who splits would-be tacklers. And will be a 3rd down from there.
You know, you talked about Buggs. We also talked about Quentin Williams. I think both those guys have a chance to help that front 7 out. But Tess, for people who look at Alabama, Nick Saban, they think, you know, how do they do it? Just how do they lose so many players and even coaches, and they continue to be Alabama? You know, you look at this roster, you look at the depth, what they have returning, you could say, well, they lost a lot on defense, but the ability to evaluate, recruit at a very, very high level, turn them over to the strength and conditioning program with Scott Cochran, allow them to grow and develop, and then turn them loose and watch them play. It's just every single year there's a new wave of players that comes through this program, and that's why they've been able to maintain this level that they've had for so many years. As long as Nick Saban is the head coach, Alabama's going to be Alabama, regardless of who the coordinators are, regardless of who the players are.
And Kirk, to your point, you bring in a guy like Buggs, #1 rated JUCO defensive end, and then you have 16 early enrollees of 21 players in your recruiting class who are in the ESPN 300. 21 of the top 300 players in the country. That's the most any school has ever had in any recruiting class in all the years we've been doing rankings. White team still up by 4 here in T-Town on A-Day. The dueling quarterbacks side by side here.
All right, we got the ball on the 1.5-yard line. We don't even have to throw it. We can just run it in. All right, so now we get the ball on the 7. So now you got tight red zones, tight coverage. It's hard to throw the ball. Dylan and Mac, when it's 6 and the safety's coming down, you guys got to cheat to your gaps, right? Cheat to your gaps. Spill the power. Hey, Coach, you got to throw the ball. We're too soft up front on defense because you guys aren't striking and attacking. Strike and attack and knock them back.
By the way, it's April. Gotta love Nick Saban. Every moment is a coachable moment.
He coached everything, all in one bite. Moved around to everybody and coached everything on the field.
How about Mac Jones to the outside shoulder? Jerry Jeudy turning and hauling it in. Jeudy has had himself a day. What athleticism from Jeudy.
Tess, not just a catch, but how comfortable is he, Joey, on the sideline to be able to get that 1 foot down for a young receiver?
Did a nice job of staying straight up the field, keeping the defensive back to the numbers, and then fading to the sideline to get the ball.
Xavier Mapp getting some playing time now. Jerry Jeudy, who is one of the most highly hyped recruits in the country, has 5 catches for 134 yards and 2 touchdown receptions. And there was a battle in recruiting with Florida State and Clemson to try to land this guy, and he is now going to contribute right away here in Tuscaloosa. Mac Jones, the freshman quarterback from Jacksonville, as he gives again to Mapp. Dylan Moses with the tackle. Moses, one of the other heralded newcomers here in Tuscaloosa. Linebacker who grew up in Baton Rouge but made his way down to Bradenton, Florida to play at IMG. He was Parade Magazine's National Player of the Year. 3rd and 2, low snap that Jones is able to handle. He's going to tuck and run, and he'll be able to move the chains just beyond midfield.
That's a nice job. I mean, it's a bad snap. Ball's low on the snap. He saw the middle of the defense clear out, so instead of trying to make something happen out, he just cut his losses and picks up the 1st down.
Mapp is wrestled down by Mac Wilson. Second down and 1. Chance for Jones to settle in. And he gets the completion for a first down to T.J. Simmons. Simmons had a touchdown reception earlier today. Reminder that tonight we're going to have another NBA playoff doubleheader right here on ESPN. It's Game 4 between the Spurs and the Grizzlies. That comes your way at 8 o'clock. And then it is Steph and the Warriors against the Blazers. And our coverage will tip with NBA Countdown, charged by Mountain Dew, starting off your NBA playoff doubleheader at 7 tonight. Should be good. Glad you're spending the afternoon with us, watching the reigning SEC champs right here, and all this good young talent that Nick Saban has put together.
Matt Jones having a nice drive and didn't look as comfortable as Tua in the first half, didn't look as comfortable as Jalen Hurts in the first half, but this is a nice drive. Kirk, you mentioned the 3rd and 2, bad snap, picked it up. Enough athletic ability. Now, he's not going to be a Jalen Hurts type of guy, but you have to have that athletic ability to just move the chains and stay on the field.
2nd and 7 for Mac Jones. And 2 freshman quarterbacks here in Tuscaloosa. Of course, there was some room opened up on the roster for quarterbacks because of everybody exiting, with Jalen Hurts' emergence as a freshman, as well as the recruitment of Tua Tagovailoa. But you remember Cooper Bateman, Blake Barnett, and David Cornwell, all the great prospects who came here through the years. Now they are elsewhere. Third down and 3. Harris trying to slither his way ahead as he works his way close to that line to make.
You know, guys, here we are in a spring game. A lot of spring games around the country. A lot of them, they won't tackle. They don't bring ball carriers down. Nick Saban has always had a reputation, whether it's getting ready in spring, camp in the fall, bowl preparation, always has had a philosophy of being physical. And I think it has a lot to do with why his team plays the way they do when they play against other teams. I don't think there are a lot of teams that can match their physicality. It's because of how they practice and how they scrimmage.
There's another bad snap there, Kirk, as it was low into the ground, but getting the in route to T.J. Simmons. They'll be down to the 3-yard line.
There's some composure there by Jones.
See, Aaron Robinson is injured at the end of that play. Robinson, the sophomore cornerback from Florida. And Simmons is limping off the field as well. Final minute here of this 3rd quarter. See if we can see what happened to Aaron Robinson. Watch his leg as he makes the tackle here. Make it caught under the body of Simmons, and that is in fact what happened. As it was bent back, and the medical team is out there attending to Aaron Robinson, and that's a good sign to see him up. Always a good crowd here for the A-Day game, and always a lot of houndstooth. Bryant-Denny Stadium on a glorious sun-kissed spring day here in Tuscaloosa.
Widen it out.
Coach, that's 2 bad snaps on this drive. What are we going to do about that?
What you got, Joe? Yes. He should throw it. He should be throwing the fade. Throw the fade to Judy.
Here is the fade. And Judy had to get rid of Levi Wallace and try to go up and get after it.
I think Coach Locke is going to dial up a run on this 3rd and short. Just try to physically get a first down, maybe get in the end zone.
You know, he's got the guy to do that if you're looking for a physical inside run with Harris at 230 pounds, the freshman running back. Whistles will blow as they hit double zeros at the end of the 3rd quarter. And we will see if Mac Jones and that offense can break through to start the 4th when we return to the A-Day game here at Alabama. Always chasing the Bears, and everybody won 6 national titles. Nick Saban was 1 second away from claiming that quote from Bear Bryant. His museum is just down the street from where we are right here. Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa for the spring football game to start the fourth quarter. Here is Harris. And there wasn't much on the inside. McDonald came up from that safety position as well. Joe Tessitore, Kirk Herbstreit, Joey Galloway, and Laura Rutledge with you here for the Alabama spring game. Story of the game has been the passing game. Freshman Tua Tagovailoa and the reigning SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Jalen Hurts. That works strong. And new offensive coordinator Brian Daboll has silenced those who said his hiring was a call for more of the run game and back to basics of conservative play calling. Hardly. This is a pro-style offense that'll do it any which way and threaten you downfield. As the white team will have the field goal attempt from J.K. Scott, who made his first attempt. Of course, he has been an All-America level punter in recent years, but replacing the longtime kicker here, Adam Griffith. There's an incoming freshman come this summer, Joseph Bulovas, who is extremely talented and many think will win the job. But for now, it is J.K. Scott handling all the duties as he adds to it. Well, April 27th through the 29th, it is the 38th straight year that the NFL draft is right here on ESPN. The first ever outdoor draft theater. Trey Wingo and the gang will give you all 3 days, presented by Courtyard. Mel Kiper and Todd McShay sizing up the Alabama prospects. Of course, Jonathan Allen visited with him yesterday. He's here in Tuscaloosa for this spring game. He's expected to go as high as number 3, says McShay. You saw Cam Robinson listed there, the All-America offensive tackle. Of course, they're in good shape when it comes to the next great one here for Alabama. You remember a year ago, Jonah Williams was a freshman All-America playing right tackle. Now Kirk and Joey, he slides over to play left tackle.
Yeah, they're going to bounce some people around. I still feel like in talking to the coaches, they're trying to get their best fit. I think they've moved some people around. They're like everybody. They're trying to create some depth. They're also asking some guys to be able to play a couple positions. You get an ankle turn, you get a guy with a shoulder. All of a sudden, your left guard is out. Now you got to move a guy at left guard. He's got to move over to right tackle. So there's a lot of mixing and matching that they're trying to still figure out.
Tua Tagovailoa gives way, hands off here. He's been leading that Crimson team in the second half after he put up the big numbers, Laura, for the white team in the first half.
Yeah, and it's been interesting, Tess, because Tua's now gotten an opportunity in this second half to work with Brian Daboll. Of course, Mike Locksley was calling his plays before. At first, they had some communication issues. Daboll telling him he needs to speak up a little more, even on the sideline, to make sure that he knew what his quarterback wanted and was talking about. They've worked it out. Most recently, Tua asking Daboll if he's put on sunscreen because his neck was looking a little red. So we'll keep an eye on that.
Here's Keith Holcomb coming in there, earning the sack.
That's part of being a freshman running back. Brought the blitz there, Joey, from the field. Robinson, the true freshman, tried to pick up one of them, and Holcomb ends up coming free.
Which is interesting because Coach Saban told me that they would only blitz in the red zone. Apparently there was too many big plays by the offense in the first half.
Yeah, they've shut that
So
down.
that rule of only blitzing in the red zone is out the window. It's time to come after this offense.
3rd and 16. Nearly intercepted that time.
That's a high school throw. That is a high school throw where you roll out
Joey?
And you can still throw it back across your body, and hit somebody down the middle late. That is something that you can get away with in high school. But when you start to think of guys like Minkah Fitzpatrick sitting back in a secondary, you cannot get away with making that throw.
Yeah, and when you say how so, that because things move a lot slower in high school versus an Alabama defense, you can throw it late over the middle and maybe get away with it. But here you have a safety that's going to step in front of it, especially a ball that's late and kind of hanging up in the air like that.
Now, Sportscenter at night with Steve Levy and John Anderson will be coming your way after Game 3 between the Warriors and the Blazers tonight. We'll give you the full breakdown. Stanley Cup playoffs, NBA playoffs, NFL draft news that's boiling up. Steve and John, Sports Center at night after Game 3 of Warriors and Blazers in the NBA. Mac Jones back out at quarterback. Freshman from Jacksonville, Florida. Threw an interception earlier. Settled in a little better here in this second half. White team still up by 7. Najee Harris pushing his way for a gain of 3. There is a mold to recent Alabama running backs. Big-bodied, fast, powerful. Harris falls right in line. Of course, the guy who will be the starting running back this fall, Bo Scarborough, really put forth all of that in the college football playoff, both the semis against Washington and then what he was doing against Clemson in the first half. Remember, he had 93 yards and a couple of touchdowns on just 16 attempts. And it's off the hands of Simmons. Kirk, you think Scarborough picks up right where he left off?
Obviously, as you said, he's going to have to get healthy. The work that he'll put in, the way the staff will demand that he do everything that he needs to in rehab. I thought, and you called the Washington game, I thought he just got better as the year went on when he finally got healthy. And I think he gained some confidence, too. But I think early in the year, the comparisons to Derrick Henry wore on him a little bit and created some unnecessary pressure. But the combination of the confidence, getting healthy, he caught fire near the end, and it'd be big for Alabama to be able to pick up where he left off.
Now, interception made by Levi Wallace. You mentioned that Peach Bowl college football playoff game. Yeah. And that was really the moment. He had 180 yards, couple of touchdowns, had that 68-yard touchdown run in the fourth quarter. And you really had a sense that, okay, the reliable battering ram is back.
And Tess, can he do it? Yes. How will they divvy up the carries? I mean, how will Nick Saban and Brian Dable, how will they look at this and say, okay, we've got 6 guys. Let's say by then, after camp and everything, let's say they have 4 guys. But I don't know if he's necessarily going to be a 20, 25 carry kind of guy because of some of the other backs that they have who can come in certain down and distances.
You know, Jalen Hurts is back. See if he can finally get this comeback for the Crimson team going. Incomplete, looking for Townsend, the freshman receiver.
Yeah, and you can see the blitz coming again. We're at this point, this is like a game. The blitz is coming. You see 2 guys coming. Brown's coming downhill at the quarterback, giving Jalen Hurts some looks in this second half that he did not get in the first half.
Robinson tackled short of the 40-yard line. The 3rd down from there. Deron Payne able to get to him down the line. Up tempo, back to the line for 3rd and 7 with Jalen Hurts. Pressure off the edge. He was tagged that time, and it was Rashaan Evans.
Kind of just to what Joey was saying, as soon as that 2nd down play was over, I'm standing over here near Jeremy Pruitt, the defensive coordinator, immediately sent 3 subs in. They knew exactly what they wanted on 3rd down. And that time, Evans is able to go from his middle linebacker spot, walks up to the edge right before the ball is snapped. The offensive line unable to make the adjustment. These are things usually you see like October, November. Yeah. Usually you play cover 3 and cover 2 in spring football,
which is what they did in the first half. And you can tell, okay, the quarterbacks performed well versus no coverage, just rushing 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah.
Now let's see that next level. What happens when they start getting pressure, finding out where the blitz is coming from,
Joey,
and getting the ball out.
Isn't it like the difference between preseason NFL football, those first 4 games, and then you get into the regular season?
Yeah, and then you wonder if Coach Saban's going to sit back with all this offense going on and not play defense.
Yeah, I think we got the answer. 6th sack from the white team. They lead by 7. Guess who awaits Alabama when the season starts? DeAndre Francois, that talented Florida State team. That game will be played down in Atlanta, and many feel Florida State is primed for a national championship run. That'll be the season opener for Alabama, playing a neutral site season opener for the 6th straight year, 7th time in the last 9 years, and this will be quite a challenge against Florida State. Tagovailoa looking for the deep ball again. So Florida State, Alabama will be coming to you from Atlanta, the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There's been some news about that lately, possibly being a little late in construction, but that'll be the home to it. Come Saturday, September 2nd in prime time. What a game.
Got to figure 1-2, maybe 1-3.
Oh, no doubt, Kirk. No doubt about it. And I'll tell you, Kirk, you know, as much as we're raving about some of the early enrollees we're seeing here, be it Harris or Judy or Tagovailoa, they've got a running back named Cam Akers who is dynamic. And I know they just lost Dalvin Cook, but that's another program that just reloads with 5 stars. So it should be great.
I can't wait to see Jimbo Fisher, who's a former, obviously, offensive coordinator for Nick Saban at LSU, and they've been good friends for a long time. Cannot wait to see them go head-to-head.
Can they keep Francois on his feet? He took a beating last year. Every game you watch Florida State play, Francois took really big hits.
Yeah, he's going to take a few in that game too, but he's tough.
3rd down and 9. Tua.
I don't think there was another quarterback that was beaten down as much and as often as DeAndre Francois, and he kept coming back
and continued to get up. And each one of those big hits, you started to wonder, would this young quarterback be shaken?
Yeah.
And he continued to fight and claw and get up on his feet and keep getting back in the huddle. One of the most impressive things we've seen from a young quarterback to step in and take the amount of hits that he took and continue to play.
Tess, give me a boxer who used to just take a beating and just kept coming back.
Oh, Jake LaMotta.
Oh, there you go.
Raging Bull, brother.
Raging Bull.
Arturo Gatti in more modern times.
I was going to say, can you come a little bit more modern?
Well, you're talking
you
like,
went way too far back.
Come on. Listen, here's the other thing with Alabama and Florida State. The game's in Atlanta. Now, Alabama, they're comfortable playing in Atlanta. Going to be a new stadium, but they won 9 straight games in Atlanta. If you were to look at the matchup based on last year, these numbers just pop. What the Florida State offense was compared to what the Alabama defense was. Now, no Dalvin Cook and obviously no Jonathan Allen and Reuben Foster.
I just feel like Florida State, since the year they won the championship and since Jameis left, they've been kind of retooling and rebooting to get ready for this season. I think they're ready to challenge the elite teams, and they'll get their chance week 1. Ironically, the national championship ends in Atlanta too. So maybe one of those teams begins their season and ends their season in Atlanta.
Hurts gets it over to Cam Sims. Coming up on 5 minutes to play here. Crimson trying to tie it up.
Hey, Tess, I just want to say real quick about these games. People will say, wow, there's so much to lose by playing a Florida State or Florida State playing Alabama. Providing you're competitive, if you don't get blown out and you lose, maybe you drop from 2 to 5, 2 to 7. I mean, if you lose 31 to 27 or 24 to 21, and it's a hard-fought game, you're not going to lose any ground. You're not going to hurt yourself at all by having the willingness to play in a high-profile game against a high-profile opponent.
And then you add in the fact that the ACC is strong. The SEC is strong. So all these teams lose is an early season loss. If you stay healthy, you go on to win the ACC, you go on to win the SEC. At the end of the year, you're sitting fine. There is no real risk as far as the playoffs are concerned. You'll be fine if you win your conference.
And we always get into these arguments that help you or hurt you to play in those games. To me, the committee needs to continue to reward teams that are in a kind of an either-or situation at the end of the year.
I agree. The other half of that argument is how good it looks. There's a touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley. A nice ball thrown just to the outside. 37-yard touchdown strike from Hurts.
That combination could be a precursor today for what's going to happen in the fall. I mean, we've seen 3, maybe 4 times to the right, Jalen Hurts going downfield to Calvin Ridley. I can't remember more than 3 times last year, the entire year, that we saw Ridley downfield making plays. Now, 2 years ago we did, but with Hurts being a freshman last year, he was more of a, an RPO guy, get the ball underneath, make people miss. But man, today he's reminding everybody that he can get downfield and make plays.
You know, it's why I brought up that stat earlier, Joey, that last year 43% of Hurts's pass attempts were either at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
This is a much different look. Yep. This is much more vertical today with Brian Daboll as the offensive coordinator.
And Coach Saban mentioned to us today on the field as we're walking around and just chatting that if you can't pass the ball, you can't win the big games. He understands that they almost got away with it last season. They almost pulled it off without the ability to throw the ball downfield. And you can see it is a focus to be able to make that big play to the outside in the pass game.
You know, as much as we've been raving about the downfield passing of both of the top two quarterbacks today, perhaps one of the big takeaways is how much more confidence you have in what this receiving core is now with a fully healthy Robert Foster. You know what Ridley is, and the emergence of Judy as the true freshman. Now they're going to miss O.J. Howard. He was a matchup nightmare. But they have some real talent out there on the perimeter. Ridley has 4 catches for 102 yards and a touchdown. So the Crimson ties things up here with 4 minutes to play. Joey, I need you to adjudicate on this question I have. They've always played this game with the format of being the winners get a steak dinner and the losers get Franks and beans.
Yes, I got him right here.
If it's a tie, does everybody get steak?
Coach, most important question. If it's a tie game, the game's over. No, we're gonna keep going. Someone's got to win it. Coach says someone's got to win it, so there is no tie in beans and Franks, and we don't have to worry about the beans and Franks and the steak dinner. So someone's going to be settled.
I'm going to eat steak and somebody's eating beans.
Hey, Kirk, can you ask me what are we going to eat? That's important. We go with the winning
Joey
team.
Wants to know what are we going to eat. Whatever you want, he said.
I appreciate
Clark. Clark is a former running back who has been getting work at tight end.
Get off the ground. Let's go. It's not just the steak. It's the tablecloths, the flowers, the service, and then the other guys have a pot and paper plates.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And they have paper on the kind of, you know,
you go to the next level. All right.
Najee Harris working his way into the backfield there as he earns a first down. And the white team
likes
trying to be
drill, looks like.
Getting that steak dinner. Who knew that Nick Saban could go all wedding planner on us? All of a sudden he's an event coordinator.
I'm with the white team, in case you guys are wondering. I'm with the white team. When we pull this off, I'm going in for steak.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. Tua Tagovailoa, freshman quarterback. That's off the hands of Harris this time. So much fun to see the way that Tagovailoa came out, started this game. Jalen Hurts was able to put up numbers himself, but now a chance for the young man from St. Louis High School in Hawaii. Same high school that produced Marcus Mariota. That snap, ball on the ground, and he smartly falls on it.
Joe, you still on white?
Let's I'm going to have to call a timeout here. Let's see what happens on 3rd and long.
Because you know Jalen Hurts is over there waiting.
Yeah, let's see what happens on this play right here. I do have the ability to switch sidelines.
Here is your 3rd and 17. And it'll be well short as Mack Wilson able to wrap up Harris.
I'm going to predict right now that Raekwon Davis, 99, is going to be a force by the time they get ready for the season, especially in passing situations. He is a monster.
6'7", over 300 pounds, and very athletic. 4th down and 11, and it is overthrown.
Here comes Jalen
for Marks. So Jalen Hurts will get his chance.
Yeah, Joey, you still on white. I'm going ahead with the crimson.
I don't know if you've noticed that I am on the crimson sideline right now. Got a shot at some defense. Coach Saban has brought some more blitzes in the second half, so we'll see what Jalen Hurts does against this blitz.
Coach, who's kicking a field goal for our ball club on this side if we get down there? 15. The punter. Okay.
And it's J.K. Scott, who has been working well as a place kicker this spring.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
All right, let's see if Jalen Hurts can do it. Minute 58 to play.
Blitz.
Oh, threw it behind into the outside of Derek Keefe.
Nice.
And there is J.K. Scott hoping that he gets his chance.
Nice job there, Tess, by Josh Jacobs, picking up that nickelback blitz from Tony Brown. See if they bring him again to the offense's left, too. He's kind of inching in a little bit. See if he comes. Here he comes.
And he was tagged off.
And they're bringing it from everywhere. Evans on one side, Brown from the field.
And Kirk, we talk about the stable of running backs and how it'll sort itself out. A lot of times this is where it sorts itself out.
Yeah.
Can you pick up the blitz, and can you realize where they're coming from and then step up and stop the blitzer and give your quarterback a chance to throw the ball?
And that's a real strength of Jacobs. The experience he gained a year ago, I think, makes him feel pretty comfortable being in that position. Plus, he can catch the ball out of the backfield. Where's Ridley? Ridley's to the far left.
He's near side, far outside. There's number 3. 3rd down and 15. Hurts has time downfield, and it is knocked away as Ronnie Harrison was also coming in hard on Derek Keefe.
Hey, Tess, are we prepared for overtime? I mean, we're
prepared for anything here.
It's April. Kirk is starting to wear down a little bit. He's hot.
I'm actually pretty good right now.
Do we have the ability to go overtime if we have to?
Listen, if Coach Saban says we're going overtime, we're going overtime. There's only one man's opinion who counts here.
I actually brought the sweat towel, and I haven't needed it here. The clouds are helping out.
Big stop by the white defense.
So they're going for it here on 4th down.
So we're going.
Yes. You're about to go back to being on the white team if they don't make it.
Where's Brown? Bring the blitz.
Hurts. Pressure came, and he was sacked. Quarterback is not a live target. And that was Anthony Jennings.
They're at the plus 32.
Let me go over to the white side.
With a minute 32 to go.
I'll be over here with Loxley if you're looking for me.
I think Joey Galloway is liking his chances a little more now.
Coach is making them go for it on 4th down.
By the way, that is the 8th sack of the game for the white team's defense.
Oh, it's ball game now.
So the freshman backfield out on the field trying to earn this win. And they go with the reverse, and they're going to pass off of it. And it is incomplete. That was Austin Johnson coming around and passing. That never had a chance.
Lux. You don't want this game to go on for another hour, do you?
No, I'm trying to end it right now.
It's Mike Loxley who's coaching the white squad. Here's Tua over the middle. Once again, a little high, intended for Xavier Marks. It'll be 3rd down.
I'd say we just check it down to Harris out of the backfield. Pick up 7 or 8.
You can see young Tua now. The feet aren't as settled.
Yeah.
Once these blitzes have now started to come and there's a little bit of pressure coming, the feet aren't as settled as we saw, not as clean with technique as we saw early on, and that is the next step for a young quarterback.
He's gone over 300 yards passing today, and here's the moment of truth. Can you win the game facing a 3rd and 10? And goes underneath to Marks.
Okay.
He's taken back immediately that time by McDonald.
Coach Saban calls a timeout.
So they're at the 28-yard line. It would be a 45-yard field goal attempt to win it, and it will be coming from the foot of J.K. Scott, 6'6" senior who's been an all-SEC punter in recent years, but this season has been working his way as a place kicker as well. And he has had a good spring place kicking. Let's see if he can finish off this game.
Come on, Scott.
Here's J.K. Scott.
Be the ball. Oh, my goodness.
Came across it.
Be the ball. Be the ball.
Me and the Crimson team have 2 timeouts, Kirk, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, well, the Crimson
got 2 timeouts on the Crimson side.
The Crimson team just checked in the first unit receivers. My ball club's ready to go score right here.
I'm in.
You may want to re-engage Saban on that conversation if we're going to continue, Herbie.
Just for fun, if it does go to overtime, are there any rules?
I haven't figured it out.
Okay. There are no rules.
Working on the fly here.
Yeah.
Another chance for Hurts. And he plays it safely underneath, and getting out of bounds that time was Hale Hentges, junior tight end. One of the 2 between Forrestal and Hentges, who will replace O.J. Howard. Second and 5. Ball is batted away, loose on the ground, and falling on it was Matt Womack.
Has it picked up a little? I mean, you can tell the competition level has picked up a little. I mean, it is trash talking. Miller comes in, smacks the ball out. It's been stay away from the quarterback all day until now.
That's what I was counting. Are you going to still do your 4-down theory here? Okay. So they got to go for it. Love it. Love it. Christian Miller, boy, he is.
Yeah, he's good off the edge, isn't he?
He's your Tim Williams for this year. He's that type of guy.
Oh! High throw intended for Calvin Ridley. Dangerous with Harrison. Oh, there's the flag.
Got him with a targeting?
We're going to get a
Come on.
spring game targeting call. A little friendly fire from Ronnie Harrison.
Tess, help me on the replay up there. Was that targeting?
I got to see. He looked like he could have got him in the head neck area. I mean, it could have been, Kirk. I'll give you. I know you don't have the monitor there walking around on the 28-yard line, but we'll take a peek for you. If there was contact in the head or neck
Calvin
area.
just said he hit him in the face. Hit him in a
personal foul.
Face mask.
Targeting number 15 on the defense. Penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Let's watch. Is it the head neck area? Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. Right in front of that face mask. And in the world of spring football, you stay out on the field. That's the beauty of this. 52 seconds to play here. First down, Hurts.
All right.
Underneath, check down Josh Jacobs. So they will move it ahead here. Of course, they have timeouts to work with. 43 seconds remain.
Coach Saban calling timeouts for both teams. He's got one. He's saying we got one timeout. Oh, they're out of timeouts? He's out of timeouts now. He's been calling them for everyone. I think he's used 8. He just keeps calling timeouts. Talk to me, Jalen. Make a play here, too. What do you say, kid?
Second and 1. Underneath, and good enough for the first down. And a little wiggle to Josh Jacobs.
Who's kicking the field goal, Kirk? You might want to ask Coach.
We're going 15, I think.
15 again,
Yeah,
huh?
15.
This could go on for a while.
Unless we get it up inside the 10. Oh, get rid of it. Get out there and make a play.
It's going to turn upfield, tuck and run. Jacobs has it down to the 15-yard line. So now it will be a much more manageable attempt if it comes down to the leg of J.K. Scott. There's J.K. Made a couple earlier, just missed moments ago.
All right, we're going to go. They're going. Basically, he said Cobra, which I don't know. I'm assuming a run play, and then they're going to clock it. Let's just get it in the middle of the field. Let's run 8, get it to the middle of the field, and then clock it. Kick the field goal and go eat some beans and Franks.
Well, there's
get it in the middle.
Attaboy.
Attaboy. All right, let's clock it. Let's go. We got to hurry. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're at 10.
Clear that pile.
Nice.
And there is the clocking of the ball with 3 seconds remaining, and J.K. Scott will get a chance at redemption here to close things out. So here's what's up for grabs.
And it all goes back to Ronnie Harrison's personal foul on the 3rd down incompletion. That might be a reminder.
Can the Crimson team have a steak dinner?
Yeah.
Or will we continue on?
And how about J.K. Scott, who missed one on one side, had a chance to make one here.
30-yard attempt to win it for the Crimson. J.K. Scott.
Oh, gosh.
Oh. Took a little bit of a ride, but in the end, it'll be a steak dinner for the Crimson. That was a fun day of action.
Yeah.
Alabama with Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa leading the way, showcasing the passing game here on A-Day. For Laura, Joey, and Kirk, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yo, here we are.